Hi everyone, it's your girl Brittany coming to you with another video drop from the Britt-O-Verse. In today's video, our protagonist happens upon a very interesting situation. Have you ever had one of those moments where you see something and you don't necessarily need to see what happened beforehand or afterwards for your brain to clock what's going on? Well, that is the case in today's video, and once you watch it, please be sure to drop in the comments your thoughts on what you would do if you were in his situation. Sit back, relax, enjoy the story, and I will check back in with you guys later. Have fun!
I caught them together and immediately snapped. Huge mistake. I, 26 male, used to think I was a pretty rational person. Like, if something looked suspicious, I'd question it, but I wouldn't just jump straight to the worst possible conclusion. At least, that's what I believed about myself. Turns out, I was completely wrong. Because all it took was one moment, one glance through a window, to make me spiral so hard that I almost lost two of the most important people in my life. My best friend Jake, 27 male, has been part of my life for so long that I don't even remember what things were like before him. We met back in high school, bonded over dumb stuff, video games, bad teachers, staying up way too late for no reason, and just never drifted apart. Even as life got more complicated, we stayed close. If something big happened in my life, he was the first person I told. No hesitation. No second guessing. Then I met Emily, 25 female. And for the first time in a while, things started to feel steady. Like my life wasn't just me figuring things out as I went along, but actually moving forward in a direction that made sense. She had this way of making you feel heard. Not just listened to, but understood. And the best part? She fit into my life effortlessly. Including with Jake. They got along almost immediately. Same sense of humor. Same energy. Conversations that flowed way too easily. At the time, I remember thinking, this is perfect. No tension. No awkwardness. Just everything working. But then, slowly, things started to shift. Nothing dramatic. Nothing obvious. Just small changes that didn't feel like much on their own, but together started to feel off. Emily would take longer to respond to texts. Not always. Just enough for me to notice. Jake, who used to send me random memes constantly, started going quiet. Which, honestly, was weird enough by itself. There were moments where I'd message both of them, and neither would respond for hours, and when they did, it was always something vague. Sorry, busy. Long day. Phone died. And again, individually, those things mean nothing. But when your brain starts looking for patterns, it builds something out of nothing. Then came the night that changed everything. I wasn't even supposed to be there. I was just walking past this restaurant downtown, thinking about grabbing something quick. And for whatever reason, I glanced inside. And there they were. Jake. Emily. Sitting across from each other like it was planned. Leaning forward. Smiling. Laughing in that quiet, close way people do when they're completely locked into each other. At one point, Emily even put her hand on Jake's arm. And I swear, in that moment, it felt like the entire world just narrowed. Like everything else disappeared and it was just that one scene playing out in front of me. I didn't go in. I didn't confront them. I didn't text. I just stood there for a few seconds, long enough to convince myself that what I was seeing meant exactly what I thought it did. And then I left. That night, I didn't sleep. Not really. I just laid there, replaying it over and over again. Every detail. The way they leaned in. The way they laughed. The way it looked. Comfortable. And my brain did what brains do best, it filled in every gap with the worst possible explanation. By morning, I wasn't questioning it anymore. For the next 2 days, I ignored both of them. Completely. Jake texted, "Yo, you good?" Emily called me. Twice. Left a message asking if everything was okay. I didn't respond to any of it. Because at that point, I had already decided what the truth was. And I didn't want to hear anything that contradicted it. By day 3, I was running on almost no sleep and pure anger. That's when Jake showed up at my apartment. Unannounced. And the second I opened the door and saw him standing there, everything I'd been holding in just exploded. I didn't ease into it. Didn't ask questions. Didn't give him a chance to explain. I just went straight at him. Accused him of being fake. Of betraying me. Of going behind my back. I even said, I hope she was worth it. Which? Yeah. That one stuck with me after. And the weirdest part? He didn't fight back. Didn't argue. Didn't try to interrupt me or defend himself. He just stood there. Let me say everything. Let me burn through all of it. And when I finally stopped, when I literally had nothing left to throw at him, he just looked at me and said, "Are you done? Or do you actually want to know what's going on?" That sentence hit differently. Because suddenly, I wasn't as certain as I had been 5 seconds earlier. I told him to explain. And what he said next completely shattered the version of reality I had built. Emily had been planning something for me. For months. Apparently, I had mentioned, once, casually, that I regretted never finishing my degree. I didn't even remember saying it. But she did. And instead of just acknowledging it and moving on, she held onto it. She started researching ways I could go back. And this is something I genuinely didn't know. A lot of colleges offer transfer credit evaluations, where classes you took years ago, or even partially completed, can still count toward a degree. Some schools even count certain work experience or certifications. I had always assumed going back meant starting over from zero. Which was one of the main reasons I never even considered it seriously. But that assumption was wrong. Emily didn't know how to navigate all of that alone. So she went to Jake. Because she trusted him. That dinner I saw? It wasn't a date. It was a meeting. Jake had reached out to someone he knew at a local college, and they were sitting down to go over options, what credits might transfer, what programs made sense, and how realistic it would be for me to actually do this. They were also looking into something I had completely misunderstood my entire life, FAFSA. I always thought financial aid basically meant loans. Debt. Something you'd be paying off forever. But that's not always the case. Depending on your income, you can qualify for grants, which you don't have to pay back. They were literally trying to figure out if I could go back to school without putting myself in a financial hole. All those times they seemed distant? They were coordinating schedules, deadlines, paperwork, trying to keep it hidden long enough to surprise me. I didn't fully believe it at first. Not until Jake showed me his phone. Messages stretching back weeks. Plans. Notes. Reminders. And then one message from Emily that completely broke me. I just want him to have the chance he thinks he lost. That's when everything hit. All at once. The guilt. The embarrassment. The realization that I had taken something genuine and twisted it into something ugly without even asking a single question. I apologized. A lot. Like, more than I ever have in my life. Jake brushed it off way easier than I deserved. Emily didn't. She wasn't angry. Just hurt. Quietly hurt. And honestly, that was worse. Because she had done all of this out of care, and I met it with suspicion. But here's the part I still think about the most. They didn't stop. They didn't cancel anything. Didn't pull back. They still helped me go through with it. A few weeks later, I officially re-enrolled. And I learned something else I wish I had known sooner. A lot of schools offer flexible programs, night classes, online options, even accelerated courses, specifically for people who are working full-time. Something I thought was unrealistic for my situation was actually designed for it. Now, I'm back in school. Balancing work, classes, and everything else. It's exhausting. But it feels meaningful. Like I'm finally moving forward again. And sometimes, I think back to that moment. Standing outside that restaurant. Watching something I didn't understand. Completely convinced my life was falling apart. When in reality, that exact moment was part of something that was trying to rebuild it. So yeah. Here's what I learned. Your brain is incredibly good at telling stories. Especially when you're scared. Especially when something doesn't make sense. But not every secret is betrayal. Not every distance means disloyalty. And sometimes, the people you think are hurting you are actually working behind the scenes to help you build something better. You just can't see it yet.
How did you all enjoy today's story? Remember, things might not always be what they seem. It is always worth taking a moment to stop, breathe, and reflect on what you're seeing versus what may be missing from the bigger picture. If you enjoyed today's story, please be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments, and also make sure to like and subscribe to Britt-O-Verse Smart Shorts so we can continue to bring you more fun and interesting content. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.